is Tuesday, August the 25th. I'm very proud of myself that I could come up with that like that. It's a very humid day today, but beautiful. I'm Pastor Luke Kilgore. I am the pastor here at the High Mountain Presbyterian Church, and I'm located inside the sanctuary building, which is at 730 Franklin Lakes Road in Franklin Lakes. But our ministry, especially through this YouTube and Facebook Live program, is reaching far and wide, and that's interesting and exciting to me. I've served 7 churches, some for long periods of time, 10 years, some for less period of time. I think the shortest period of time was about 7 months in an interim position. And then I have my life beyond that and connections with people not all over the world, because I have been a pastor in New Jersey for every time. And there have been several times where I've put out the information to the search to the United States. I've interviewed with churches in Colorado and down in North Carolina and have had good experiences there, but every time I'm right back here in New Jersey, and I love where I am. I love that you're here with me now. If you're one of my old friends from high school who've been weighing in, I say hello to you. Say hello to my friends from other congregations, and I say hello to people who are connected in various ways just to happen to be here for this time of a pastor's chat. When I get on commercial airlines, which I haven't done now for months, I always think twice. If the conversation starts up with the person on the airlines, I think twice about letting them know that I'm a pastor. And part of the reason is that most people, I find, when they find out that you're a pastor or a rabbi or an imam, and that you work in this setting, they are interested to ask you questions or to talk to you about things that, I've always wanted to talk to a pastor about this. I've always wanted to say or ask a question like this. And so, if I'm tired when I get on the plane and I'm looking forward to sleeping, then I have to be quiet about what I do for a living. When I ask, or when I tell them if they ask that I'm a pastor, I don't think it's quite the same press that happens for doctors. When doctors, or I think lawyers also, people find out that that's what you do, I get a chance to have a consultation with a pastor. I got this pain in my neck, doc, and I just have never really been able to figure it out. In some ways, that's the setting of this 2-chair and 1 pastor sort of promotion, if you will. It's a pastor's chat. And what's unusual about it, because of course it's 2020, so everything should be unusual. Maybe if we get through the unusual, the bizarre, the unbelievable, then after 2020, we'll have something, I don't know, dare I say it, normal, that will descend upon us. Who knows? But I sit here and chat. And I do wonder, how you are. When I came in today, I have to get my technician to help me, but I want to pick up, I told you this yesterday if you were listening, I want to pick up the camera and I want to go back and show the pictures that I look at on the wall of our wonderful community, of the people that I think about and pray for. And I guess yesterday in my chat, I was really inviting you to identify yourself if you're watching. And thank you for those of you who do. Several people said, I want you to know that I'm part of the Gang of Eight. It's always there. And then there are those who tune in when they get a chance. Gang of Eight is kind of a group that's here live every Tuesday at 2 o'clock. And I'm grateful for knowing that. So how are you today? I don't know all the reasons why, but I'm having a particularly wonderful day. I don't know. I've admitted this before. I'm very sensitive to how I feel. And how I feel, I never know exactly what causes the way I feel. But if you ask me if I'm having a good day, and I say yes, and I often do, it's mostly because, I don't know, I have this feeling. It's a feeling of, I don't know, well-being, okayness. I'd have to dig really deep to find something that I could feel some angst about. And usually on days like today, some things that I've been carrying around and feeling a lot of anxiety or worry about or wonder about have reached certain levels of resolve. And so I can, oh, here it comes. I do that exhale, and then the yawn comes. So, part of my devotion that I read this morning said that growing up or being an adult and living in an adult world has to do with developing skills to maintain some even keel, even in the ups and downs. Patience is required. You may feel terrible today, but hold on, because tomorrow that feeling will pass. Or maybe it'll take a week, but it will pass. It takes some practice to get to know that. And an image of farming comes to mind, and I've thought about this many times, that my grandfather, and also there was another farmer who was not a member of the family that I worked for a while. And we would go out in the spring when the ground was dry enough, and we would plow. And when you plow, it was really important that you keep the lines straight so that when you come back for the second pass with the plow, the tractor could go into a groove and you could get the whole field plowed. If you got off the track, there would be huge sections of the field that were not turned over and therefore could not be seeded. So it's very important to know how to keep on course, how to keep straight. And I remember my grandfather when I wasn't little, I was probably 16. He needed me to do some plowing for him, and he explained to me that when you open up a field, which means you take the first pass across the field, it's really important that you look to the horizon and you find an object on the horizon and you steer toward the object on the horizon. It is essential that you do not look down. You do not look down to where the plow and the wheels, and you do look back to make sure that everything is okay, that the plow is functioning and that the ground is being rolled over. But you keep one eye on the horizon, and not just anywhere on the horizon. Usually in the farm country there'll be a tree or a shrub which you can see from a long ways off, and it's on the horizon. And as you're sitting, shoulder turned so that you can look back as you need to, hand on the steering wheel, you look at that spot on the horizon and drive to it. And that's true not just for the first pass, but for every pass. Once you get the tractor turned around and you come back across the field, you have an object on the other horizon, you steer to that. And then when you come back to replow, to move a little further in on the path you've already taken, you pick the same object way off in the distance and you steer directly to it. And sometimes there'll be a spot on the steering wheel close to where you are, a little bump or a little mark or just your finger on the steering wheel, and you line up one eye to that finger and put it on that mark off in the horizon. It's one of those things that just fills me with a sense of gratitude, because I think that isn't just true in plowing fields. It's true in life. It's your eye on the prize. Keep your mind set on the goal. Maybe you don't know what the goal is. Pick one. Soren Kierkegaard said, just will one thing. Pick one thing for your life and go for it. You'll experience ups and downs. You'll experience feeling good and not feeling good. You'll experience days where you think you're not going anywhere. And then you'll experience days where you wonder if you're going in the wrong direction. Keep your eye on the prize. Keep going in that direction. And what's amazing is how it works. The field, the furrows as they're called, will be plowed and they will be straight as an arrow. Even though while you're doing it, while you're plowing, sometimes the plowshare, it's their big steel curved pieces that turn the soil over but have these reinforced points on them. Sometimes they will hit a rock, and it's a big rock. And when it hits the rock, the tractor will be sent back. Sometimes it pops over to the side. Sometimes it jerks around. So one time I was plowing with a really powerful tractor, really powerful. I had an 8 bottom plow, which it means 8 plowshares turning soil, and a big diesel tractor. And I was going across big double wheels on the tractor, and I was driving across this field, plowing away. Throttle was full open, and I had my eye on the goal, and we were rolling. And the plow hit a boulder, which was underground, buried underground. The tip of the plow hit the boulder. And as powerful as the tractor and our momentum was, it brought the tractor to an immediate stop, and the front wheels of the tractor began to go up. And at one point, I was holding on to the steering wheel and I was looking up at this monstrous machine, which had reared up like a wild stallion. And then I realized that I needed to push the clutch to release the drive of the tractor, because I was panicked about what was happening. And so I pushed it on the clutch, and the drive of the tractor stopped, and it came slapping down on the ground. I lifted the plow, raised it a little bit so that it could go over top of the boulder, put my eye on the mark down the field, shaken as I was, scared to death. And I plowed on. And the amazing thing is that even that massive disruption, not change the consistent pattern, that the furrows were straight, which meant then when the harrow, the thing that comes along and breaks up all the clumps, could also then go in straight rows. And when the field was smooth and ready for planting, then the planter could come, and the planter would follow similar patterns of straight lines, and the field will be most efficiently planted with no big open or rough spots in the field. Yeah, there will be times where you'll be jolted, but knowing how to reset your sights on that horizon, it's called a mission in our lives. A mission to be a kind and loving person. A mission to be a person that learns for your whole life. All these things, they can be guided by this very practical information from the farmer's field. So I'll leave you with this one thing. One thing my grandfather told me was that if you're riding down the road and you look down the field of corn that is planted, and field corn grows and you can see the rows. And my grandfather said that among farmers, that if a farmer's rows were bent and they were weaving, you knew that that was not a reliable human being. And actually, he told me, I don't know if it's true, but that's where the definition of the word crooked comes from. A crooked person is a person who hasn't developed the ability to keep their eye on a high and meaningful goal, something worth pursuing, and is affected, gets their eye off the mark, takes advantage in situations, cheats on exams, or does something different. Crooked. That's crooked. Being able to keep your eye on the goal, to remain devoted, which is another word I've been using a lot, devotions, to remain devoted to that goal, the eye of the prize, keep pressing on to the goal. That's my prayer for you today. It's two parts. Try to determine what is that thing you want to keep your eye on in the future. Is it worthy? Is it going to stay still? And then rally your forces in spite of all the ups and downs that are coming, and there will be a lot coming. Keep your eye on the prize. To be devoted to your life's mission. It sounds lofty, sounds like that's really hard to ascertain. It's not. It just takes your willingness to look for it. So, there you have it. A little lesson from farming, a little lesson on surviving the ups and downs of life, and a little personal sharing from your pastor. I pray for you. I will pray for you. I do right now. That you'll be able to keep your eye on that goal. Endure the valleys. Endure the boulders that come and cause you to come to a dead stop. And then be able to still find your way back with that goal, that prize in mind. And so I leave you with that prayer, a promise of God to meet you in that moment and to be a partner with you as you plow on. Thank you, my friends. I'll see you tomorrow, right here. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, I'm going to come on live on this channel, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Bible study, about my plans for Bible study for the fall. And hopefully I'll be able to get those of you who have been doing some Bible study with me back on track. And we'll talk about ways in which we're going to try to do some of that community building and Bible reading together again. Thank you, my friends. I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.